All right, everyone, today we are going to try something new. From now on, whenever there is something very important that I'm going to purchase, I'm going to do it blindfolded. So that goes for stock picks, restaurants, travel destinations, and even when we shamelessly push our kids into the college they're going to go to. I mean, it doesn't really matter how I spend my money as long as I get something in return, right? Wait, what? That sounds totally absurd. I mean, who would voluntarily give their money at chance to some non-specific outcome? I'll tell you who. Google advertisers. Whoa, I know, before you say anything, if I'm talking about you, please don't be offended because actually, you're not alone. Google has purposely made it difficult to optimize smart shopping campaigns, which really hides all the ability for advertisers like you to even try to point your dollars to the highest returning sets of products. And in this video, we talk about all the reasons why you are not seeing better results from your shopping ads and what you can do to maximize the returns from those campaigns. Ready? Let's go. Hey everyone, today we are going to talk about Google shopping ads and we're going to shake them up a little bit, try to get some more profit out of them. Before we get going, do me a favor, please go down, gently click that like button, and if you want to see more video content like this in marketing and advertising, you can always subscribe to our channel, and if you want to be notified the next time we put out a video, please click that bell. So first things first, have you lately noticed that your shopping campaigns have, well, kind of sucked? If so, you're not alone. Specifically with smart shopping campaigns, there could be several reasons why this is happening, but it might have to do with Google not getting enough data to meet the criteria set in your Google shopping campaign bid strategy. So there could be potential reasons for this. Let's go through a few. Coming out of a pandemic, people's buying behavior has just changed. And for some of you, you're doing better than you did last year. And for a lot of you, you guys are not doing better because your customers just aren't buying as much. Then there's annual seasonality. That's always a factor. Most recently, iOS users opting out of sharing third-party cookies. That's a factor, not just for Facebook, but for all platforms, including Google. And then if you've had any new website or website changes that could be affecting performance, like conversion rate, that will cause a freak out with the Google algorithms. So things that might not be causal, but definitely exacerbate the problem. One is having a small budget given the quantity of products that you're advertising. Next, having constant changes to the product data. So changing your inventory, changing your product prices, adding new SKUs, that will definitely affect the performance and the smart campaign's ability to do what it wants to do. And then lastly, your customers as a whole, do they tend to buy random products you sell or do they always buy the same products? If they're buying random products and never really centralizing around a core bunch of all of them, then that could complicate the algorithm and what it needs to do to optimize your campaign. So those are just a few off the top of my head. Next, let's get into what to do about it. So with all these forces at play, we have to do something about it. Now, the plan we want to achieve is that we want to carve out a subset of products which have known product performances, either good or bad, and then add them to separate buckets in the form of campaigns. Now, this process is designed to develop a system which ultimately gets you to spend ad dollars more efficiently on either your highest returning products or your known lowest, or not to spend money on your known lowest returning products. Now, this is in contrast to what you might be doing now, which is just uploading a feed, assigning a budget, and allowing Google to show the products that they want to, despite any bidding strategies that you set for it. Now, see, Google is going to spend money on the products it gets the most volume on. And even if it's not the best returning sets of products, I think that if you set some bidding strategies, it's going to attempt to do it, and it just wants to make sure it's evening out. But if you were able to get into it, you would find that you're spending a lot of money on products that don't really serve you or don't generate a lot of returns. So as an advertiser, you need to take back as much control of the process or else you're going to get what you get. And as we tell our kids, you get what you get and you don't get upset. But let's be honest, they're thinking we want what we want and we're going to fight until we get something. This is going to be more helpful to you if you've had lots of products, you've been online for a while. If you have just a few products, and this might not be the best strategy altogether, but feel free to reach out to us. And if you want Conversion Giant to take a look at your account, we'll be happy to do so. So when we are breaking out campaigns to consider higher performance, we need to define what we consider to be positive. So some examples of positive performance include products which might have converted more than once or maybe twice in a given set of time, whether that's like 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. Then products which lead to higher tickets, including paired sales. So products that either ultimately check out for a higher dollar amount, or for those that end up being purchased with other products, those might be beneficial. And then there's products which are less competitive. And then there's products with higher margin. Those are all going to be considered examples of higher performing products. Now, examples that include lower performing are products which have not converted in a given period of time or only converted once in the same time period. Products which typically constitute a low ticket sale, products which are very competitive, and then products with low margin. So let's get into some of the requirements. You know you must have a Google Ads account, analytics. You must also have a history of advertising, which includes multiple single product purchases in a portion of your total products. So you must have single product purchases as a portion of all the products that people buy. You must be able to pull data from Google Analytics. You must have a history. Typically, that's going to be 3 to 6 months. I talked about that. Better to have 6 months or 12 months worth of data. And you must have enough ad spend to support both the higher performing products and the less performing products. You might not know what that looks like before you build it, but once it ramps up, Google will let you know for sure. So first things first, we got to get the data from Google Ads. Now, I'm not going to go into hyper specificity on how to do that. We'll actually include a link down below for you to go and do that step by step. But essentially, we want to be able to go to the reporting areas of Google Ads, pull out products by item ID, and then be able to sort them by performance. And when we do that, we're looking to sort by a number of different metrics. It depends. Like I like to use if they were purchased more than once. So you might look at conversions in general. You might look at ROAS. You might look at conversion rate. But for this example, we're just going to use conversions or purchases. The number of sales that happen for this product over that given period of time. Now that you have a list of item IDs that you can use, you can begin to build campaigns to either include those best performers or even exclude low performers from other campaigns. And the first step that we want to do is we want to create these buckets that, basically campaigns, but best performing buckets. You'll start by taking the positive performing product sets and then creating a best sellers, maybe given 3-month or 6-month time frame, smart shopping campaign. You're going to copy all those item ID values from your export that you sorted that you deem were going to be high performers, which you want to add to the best sellers. You're going to download that list and then add that to the campaign. And again, in the link below, we'll give you detailed instructions on exactly how to do that. Now that you have your new bestseller smart shopping campaign, this is going to be your primary campaign where you're going to allocate the larger parts of your budget. You'll want to play around with the budgets a little bit to make sure it's given enough to get impressions and clicks on almost all the products on a semi-consistent basis. There are no hard rules for this by any means, so just you should monitor it very closely and make sure it's getting enough budget to serve a large set of products on a daily basis. Now, the initial campaign then becomes a general product campaign, and this will serve as a holding tank for the remaining products to compete with one another and contend for best sellers or a bestseller status to be added to that bestseller campaign. Just a pro tip, you can also create 2 buckets for best sellers and ultra best sellers, which might take products that have even more sales beyond just the 1 or 2 occurrences or unique purchases. This would be handy if a smaller group of products drive a substantial share of the total revenue for your campaigns. So now we're going to build a machine, and building the machine really just refers to you and your diligence to make sure that you are monitoring which products are performing and which ones are not, then moving products from one campaign to the other based on the product's performance. Products in the best-selling campaign need to have enough impressions and clicks to make sure that these kind of assessments can happen, whereas products in the general campaign won't get as many impressions, and that's really okay. You'll want to be sure you are giving products a realistic amount of time to build data before deriving any assessment regarding its performance. So you can't look at this for 1 week and then decide, oh, okay, it's not working or it is working. You may also want to repeat this process for product categories or types based on the needs of your business. You might want to have separate buckets for seasonality reasons or just to generally spend more or less money on specific areas of your total product set. So while we won't cover this in detail today, you can also flag those products which have potential to be good for reasons like margin, having a high ticket amount, or just being less competitive, and then add them to a separate campaign and give them a smaller budget. And if they start selling, you just add them to the best-selling campaign. In contrast, those products which only hurt your campaigns for the inverse reasons, then you can flag them as a suppressed campaign or as low performers, and then give them a minuscule budget or just exclude them altogether. So you could also try running a general or low performing products campaign as a standard shopping campaign so that you can actually gain additional insight from keyword queries. Now, this could shine a much needed light as to why certain products might not be performing as well. In the end, Google is always trying to take control away from advertisers, but there are several ways to skin a cat, and that really is the art to Google ads. The worst thing you can do is just leave it up to Google to decide, because there are profits to be had, and if you're willing to take the time and put the work in on a routine basis, you can get more returns and more revenue. All right, thank you so much. Go down, don't forget to like this video. Please subscribe. And if you are not the kind of person to dive in and do this yourself, we are not YouTubers by trade. We are a digital ad agency. We make all of our money off of managing client accounts. We don't make any YouTube ad revenue. Maybe someday we will, hopefully we will. But since 2008, we've been managing client accounts and helping them with their Google ads. So please reach out to us if you need help. Other than that, we will talk to you soon. Thanks so much.